Hello and welcome. This training is intended for formula state administrators and subgrantees who are filling out subgrantee performance reports. This training video will cover how to fill out a report. In both the STOP and SASP reports, there are mandatory sections and optional sections. Subgrantees should answer all required sections and questions. Required questions are marked with an asterisk next to the question. For optional sections, subgrantees will need to answer an initial question about whether or not they used grant funds to support the respective activities. If they did not use grant funds to support those activities, they will click No, and the rest of the section will be skipped. If they did use grant funds to support those activities, they will click Yes, and then answer the questions within the section. If the subgrantee does not wish to or need to respond to an optional question, they must still click the Save and Continue button at the bottom of the page to show that they have at least viewed the questions. If a subgrantee clicks that yes, funds were used for an activity, and they begin filling out the section, but then they later decide actually they should not have been filling out that section because grant funds did not support the activities, they may use the No button for the first question, and the system will delete all of the previously entered data. If for some reason they then click Yes again, after having just clicked No, the entire section is still blank. Clicking No deleted all of the data. No data was retained. The question numbers in each section are dynamic and start over at 1 for the beginning of each section. When referencing a specific question on the report in the separate instructions, the subgrantee will need to know which section and question they are looking for. For example, staff question 1 and 2 are not the same as victim services questions 1 and 2. The subgrantee report contains coding that makes sure specific requirements are met before the report can be submitted. Validation checks actively happen while data is entered into the report. All validation requirements must be met in order to submit the report to the state administrator. Validation errors will be indicated in the report in a few different ways. A yellow exclamation mark appears in the navigation pane next to a page or section that has an error. A red error message will appear on the page next to the field that has an error. The Validate and Submit page will list out any sections that have validation errors, including sections that have not been viewed for completion. If there is a validation error on the current page, the subgrantee will not be able to move on to the next page by using the Save and Go to Next Page button. Instead, the validation error will appear. If a subgrantee needs to move to a different page, they need to use the navigation pane instead by clicking on the section or page that they need. Once all validation requirements are fulfilled in each section, a green check mark will appear next to each section's name, signaling that the section is complete. Validate and Submit is the last section of the report, and it does the final check to make sure all reporting requirements have been met. A report can only be submitted once all the validation requirements have been met. If there are any issues that need to be addressed, a list of all of the sections that contain issues will appear. This list is linked so the subgrantee can click on the section they would like to address, and they'll be brought directly to that section. The report is successfully validated when all sections and pages have the green check marks within the navigation pane, and no validation issues appear in the Validate and Submit page. At this point, the report is ready for submission to the state administrator.